Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have placed their number one cornerback, Carlton Davis, on the injured reserve. If you guys are new here, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button if you do enjoy these types of videos, and leave me your thoughts about this situation, about Carlton Davis being placed on the injured reserve, down in the comment section below. Let me go ahead and start with this, explaining what it means to be on the injured reserve. I know that that is a very scary thing to hear for a lot of fans, understandably so, because in the past, basically if you were placed on the injured reserve, that meant you were out for the entirety of the season. Thankfully, the NFL has changed some of the rules with the IR, the injured reserve, and what it means to be on the injured reserve. So what this means right now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Carlton Davis is that Davis will be out for at least the next 3 weeks while he recovers from an injury that he suffered in week number 4 versus the New England Patriots. It was a quad injury. I believe Bruce Arians came out and said he pulled his quad, and now that is what this means, that Carlton Davis will be on the injured reserve. He will be out of action for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for at least the next 3 weeks. That is the minimum amount of time that Carlton Davis can be out now that he has been placed on the injured reserve. It doesn't mean that he's automatically out for the remainder of the season. And, silver lining here, Carlton Davis even came out and said, hey, don't worry guys, I'll be back sooner rather than later. He said that on Twitter. So yeah, we'll see what happens in regards to that. But at the bare minimum, 3 weeks. Can't stress that enough. He's not out for the season. Potentially, just again, bare minimum, 3 weeks. But regardless of how long he is or isn't out for, this is not good. This is not good for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is not good for Carlton Davis. He's in a contract year, by the way. He's trying to get that bag. It's going to be harder for him to do that now. And I spoke whenever the Carlton Davis injury happened that, hey, depending on how long he's out for, maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might have to sound the alarm. And it's looking like we're getting more and more closer to that situation with Davis officially being placed on the injured reserve. Carlton Davis, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would agree with this, was far and above the best cornerback on this team, and this will be a massive blow to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary and defense as a whole. I mean, it is going to be a big loss. A big, hit has been dealt to the Buccaneers secondary, to the Buccaneers defense, and Carlton Davis will be very sorely missed, in my opinion. However, despite this situation, despite the alarm basically being sounded at this point, there are some silver linings in this situation. Not, I put like a question mark after I had wrote that, but there are some silver linings in this situation. Jamel Dean is coming back from injury, and first things first, I know people are going to say, come on, James, Jamel Dean, he sucks. What are you talking about? I understand how people feel regarding that situation, but regardless, hey, Jamel Dean knows the playbook, and he's still a young and athletic cornerback. We'll take those things, right? There are times when Jamel Dean can do some really good things for this Buccaneers secondary. There have been times where he has struggled, but I think the positives far outweigh the negatives here in regards to Jamel Dean returning. He would be a starter if he were to return. Maybe he'd even be as far up as the number 1 cornerback based on how well he knows Todd Bowles' system right now versus all the other guys on the team currently. He would at least be the number 2 cornerback when he returns from his injury. So that is a positive. The Buccaneers are getting a starting cornerback returning to the team with Jamel Dean, hopefully coming back soon. Maybe he might not be available for week number 5. That's still a definite possibility, but you would hope he's at least available for week number 6. Another important thing to note here is that Richard Sherman is going to get some more time with the team under his belt, and he is going to improve as time goes on during the season while Carlton Davis is out. And to be fair, I mean, Richard Sherman did not do a bad job in week number 4. Was he targeted a lot? Sure, he was targeted a pretty healthy amount, but overall, he didn't give up a ton of big plays. He kept the guy in front of him in a lot of situations, and you guys got to remember, he had 3 days basically with the team before he had to step into a role being the at first number 2 cornerback and then the number 1 cornerback after Carlton Davis went down with his injury. So it was an impossible situation for any player to be in. I really don't care who you are. It is a very large hill to climb, and overall Richard Sherman, I think he did a very, very good job. So if you give him more time with the team, I think he's just going to grow and improve, and we are going to see some massive help from the overall play of Sherman, again, in my opinion. Another silver lining to think about here is that both Pierre Desir and Ross Cockrell seem to do a much better job in Week 4 versus the Patriots than what we've seen from some of the backup cornerbacks from the Buccaneers in, say, week number 3 or even week number 2. Pierre Desir came in, he almost had a pick 6. It was just a really unlucky play from him versus the Patriots. And then even Ross Cockrell did a really good job once he was exclusively working as a nickel cornerback. I was overall coming away from the game very proud of the trio of Richard Sherman, Pierre Desir, and Ross Cockrell. Those guys are going to get a lot more playing time now, and with more time under their belts to learn the offense, Ross Cockrell doesn't need the more time, but more so in the case of Pierre Desir, who's been on the team since, I believe, September 30th, and then Richard Sherman, who's been on the team since September 28th. It's going to help them out, and I think that we are going to see more improved play from both of those guys, specifically as time goes on. And Ross Cockrell, he'll be in the nickel, which I think is a spot that he is comfortable in. We've seen him play well in the past. Despite those silver linings, however, I do personally expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to explore the possibility of adding another corner, either via free agency or via trade. I highly recommend you guys go check out the video that I did on Buccaneers cornerback options after the Carlton Davis injury. I kind of detail what some of those options may be in free agency or via trade. And guys, right now as it stands, the Buccaneers cornerback room consists of Richard Sherman, Pierre Desir, Ross Cockrell, D. Delaney, Rashard Robinson if they decide to elevate or promote him from the practice squad, and Jamel Dean once he returns from injury. Also, Sean Murphy-Bunting. He is hopefully getting healthier and maybe getting ready to return at some point as the weeks tick on. I've seen a lot of people say, you know, Rhett of the Cannon Fire Podcast, Evan of the Cannon Fire Podcast, both those guys say that Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy-Bunting will probably come back at the same time. I'm kind of, you know, inclined to agree with that decision. So with Davis being placed on the IR now, maybe the Buccaneers will add another cornerback who can help out in the immediate sense. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see, but I know I'm going to sound like an overly optimistic guy here, but I like Pierre Desir. I like Ross Cockrell in a certain role. As a nickel cornerback, I think he can do some good stuff. I like Richard Sherman. I like that trio of cornerbacks that the Buccaneers have. And they can even get creative. They can have Mike Edwards be in the nickel. Maybe they have Antoine Winfield Jr. do some stuff when he comes back from dealing with the concussion protocol and whatnot. They can get creative with certain things in their secondary to, you know, maybe not, you know, what's the word? Like, I guess put a Band-Aid on the situation, because at the end of the day, guys, that's really one of the only things that they can do is put a Band-Aid on this situation. There's not a ton of perfect answers here. They're dealing with a lot of adversity with literally their top 3 cornerbacks being hurt. But again, as I said, for just, you know, whatever it's worth, I like Richard Sherman, I like Pierre Desir, and I like Ross Cockrell, and I feel confident that they can do a good job. I know a lot of people might not want to hear that. They might want to say, come on, James, we got these guys off the street. They're trash, backup wide receivers, whatever it may be. Me, personally, I am going to put some faith and some confidence with that trio of cornerbacks while Carlton Davis is out, while Jamel Dean's dealing with his injury, while Sean Murphy-Bunting is out, and I think that these guys can do a serviceable job, which, given the circumstances we've got right now, guys, is, I think, what a lot of people can only hope for. So that's just kind of my thoughts on that. But what do you guys think about Carlton Davis being placed on the injured reserve? What do you think about all these things that I talked about in regards to Jamel Dean coming back, the guys that the Buccaneers have on their roster currently, and the possibility of them adding another cornerback as well? Just give me all your thoughts on this situation. I would love to hear it. I just want to say one more thing as well, guys. I know a lot of people are going to point out the Stephon Gilmore thing in the comments. again, I do understand where you guys are coming from. I made a whole video talking about that situation as well if you want to go check out that. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. Now we'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.